You're 20,000 years in the past. The number of people you could choose as a partner doesn't even reach 50. Most of the people you'll ever meet in your lifetime are already here. Night. A fire is burning. Someone is sitting across from the fire. Not directly across from you, a little to the side, but the gaze. The gaze is direct, and you don't know what to do. 20,000 years ago, people were experiencing exactly this same feeling. The same feeling, the same helplessness, the same "what should I do?" question. First, we need to understand this. 20,000 years ago, the world wasn't the world you see today. We were nearing the end of the Ice Age, but we were still in the midst of it. Northern Europe was covered in ice. Mammoths roamed Siberia. Average temperatures were 5 to 6 degrees lower than they are today. And people lived in small groups. 10 people, 20 people, maybe 50. The number of people you'd meet in your entire lifetime might have been fewer than the number of people you run into in an apartment building hallway today. Now think about that. When you talk about choosing a partner, how much of a choice was there really? No phone, no messages, no profile picture, no swiping left or right. There's just you, there's the person across from you, and between the two of you, a vast silence. So what do you do? And more importantly, this wasn't just a matter of the heart, it was a matter of survival. Because back then, there was a direct link between whether someone found you attractive and whether you could make it through that winter alive. Whether the person across from you is attractive or not matters, but there are more important questions. Can they endure the cold? Do they give up when injured? Do they run away in the face of danger? Or do they stay by your side? Today, you have coffee on a first date. Back then, a first date was probably a mammoth hunt, and that's no joke. Now, here's the interesting part. So how did people show they were interested in someone? No flowers, no playlists, no heart emojis at all. So what was there? Archaeologists don't know the exact answers, but there are clues. And these clues are much more familiar than you might think, because in hunter-gatherer societies, people got to know each other not through words, but through shared experiences. You didn't need to talk for hours to find out who someone was. A storm was enough. A period of famine was enough. A hunt was enough. A person's true character would reveal itself within a few days. I need to introduce you to Grug. Grug isn't the hero of this story, but he's exactly who we are. Grug is an ordinary person. He's neither the strongest nor the smartest, but he exists, he's alive, and he's looking at someone sitting by the fire. Grug is returning from a hunt. He's carrying meat on his shoulder. The camp is set up. Everyone is tired. And Grug decides to share most of the meat. No one says, "How romantic," but the whole camp is watching him, and everyone is thinking the same thing. This guy is reliable. This guy is generous. It's not a bad idea to be on this guy's side. Without even realizing it, Grug is flirting quite successfully, because back then, it wasn't muscle that was impressive. It was usefulness, compatibility, and perhaps most of all, reliability. But the story doesn't end there, because being a good hunter wasn't always an advantage. You might be the world's most fearsome hunter, but you might also be arrogant, quarrelsome, and difficult to get along with. Then no one would want to live with you. A bad relationship within a small group can poison the entire winter. It can put the whole group in danger. So mate selection wasn't just about choosing strength. It was a choice of compatibility. And that's why some researchers believe humor is a very ancient tool of courtship, because humor demonstrates intelligence, it demonstrates social compatibility, it shows that you can remain human even in the midst of danger. Maybe Grug was telling a story by the fire too. Maybe when everyone else was laughing, that person laughed too. Maybe it all began right then and there. Now, Here's the even stranger part. Because we always imagine prehistoric people as crude and primitive, but archaeologists are finding something very different. In southern France, in the Dordogne Valley, there are caves dating back to 18,000 BC. There are paintings on their walls, pictures of horses, pictures of bison, handprints. And the most complex, most meticulously crafted paintings are deep inside the cave, in places where no one could easily see them. Why? If the goal was simply communication, why not put them in the most visible spot? But if this was part of a performance, I made it this far, I'm skilled, brave, and patient enough to do this, then the meaning changes completely. In the graves, some individuals were buried with care. Items were left beside them, necklaces made of teeth, seashells, and red paint. And some of these shells were transported from hundreds of kilometers away. Shells from the Atlantic coast were found in caves hundreds of kilometers inland. How did these beads get there? Trade? Inheritance? Or could someone have carried these beads from very far away, under very difficult conditions, to someone across that fire? We'll never know for sure, but the possibility is too great to ignore. Researchers call this costly signaling. In other words, paying a serious price to prove something is real. A bird expends energy on its feathers. A peacock expends speed to carry its tail. And humans expend time. They expend effort. They take risks. Carrying a bead hundreds of kilometers 20,000 years ago was not in vain. It meant, I am strong enough to do this. It meant, I did this for you.
Think about Grug again. He has a tooth in his hand, an animal's tooth. He found it while hunting. It was beautiful. He kept it. What will he do now? He worked on it. It took weeks, perhaps. He drilled a small hole in it. He threaded a thin strip of leather through it. Then he gave it to her, silently. We don't know what the other person thought, but the likelihood that they didn't think something different from us is very low. Now we've come to the most surprising part. 20,000 years ago, courtship wasn't just a personal matter. The group had to approve. Think about it. Everyone knows everyone else. In a small community, every relationship affects the group's future. Who would sleep next to whom? Who would go hunting with whom? Who would raise children with whom? The elders' approval mattered. The voices of the strong individuals mattered. And that sounds restrictive. But wait a second. What the family would say, the reaction of friends, the approval of the social circle. The forms have changed. The substance hasn't. Think about Tinder. Today, someone picks their best photo, in the best light, from the best angle. Maybe they even go to a special place just for that photo. They spend hours on it. Why? To say, I can look this good. To say, I'm this valuable. An expensive signal. 20,000 years ago, a shell necklace. Today, an Instagram profile. Same mechanism, same instinct. Only the tools have changed. Music. The world's oldest musical instruments date back to the Upper Paleolithic era. Flutes made of bone, percussion instruments made from animal bones, and making these required serious craftsmanship. The holes had to be in exactly the right places. The proportions had to be just right. Otherwise, no sound would come out. Grug pulls out a bone flute by the fire. He plays it. He probably plays it terribly, but he plays it. And at that moment, the person across from him is smiling or laughing, or both at the same time. We know how Grug feels, because we know that feeling too. Later that night, the fire is dying down. The group is drifting off to sleep one by one. And you're still there. That one person is still there. Now it's just the two of you. How did this moment unfold 20,000 years ago? Words? Silence? A touch? Archaeology can't tell us that. Some things don't turn into fossils. But we know this much. That moment existed. Because we're here. We're their descendants. Something went right around that fire, time and time again, for thousands of years, around countless fires. And that's why you're watching this video right now. What about you? If you had lived 20,000 years ago, when the number of people you'd meet in your entire life wouldn't even reach 50, if you had to choose just one of them, who would you choose? The strongest one? The most trustworthy one? Or simply someone who makes you feel good just being around them? Maybe the answer is much more familiar than you think, because even after 20,000 years, what people are looking for hasn't changed much. Trust, loyalty, sharing, and someone who makes the world feel a little safer when they're sitting beside you. Caves have disappeared. Mammoths have disappeared. Even campfires have disappeared. But the way your heart races when someone looks at you, that has survived for 20,000 years. Because the oldest technology in human history wasn't fire. It was two people choosing each other.